Day 24 of the federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial against Sean Diddy Combs ended with more explosive developments both inside and outside of the witness box. The surprise move by the judge to remove a seated juror drew very sharp objections from the defense, and once testimony got underway, jurors were led through this trove of texts and internal documents revealing alleged drug use, escort arrangements, disturbing behind-the-scenes behavior at the center of the government's case. So to give us that special inside look at what went down in today's proceedings...
Good evening. Our top story tonight centers on Sean Diddy Combs, the music mogul whose career has long been defined by success, controversy, and influence. Tonight, his legal battles have reached a critical point. A major court hearing is underway, one that could potentially overturn a previous verdict against him. For Diddy, the stakes could not be higher. This ruling may determine whether he begins to rebuild his damaged empire or faces further setbacks that threaten his legacy. The hearing comes after months of legal maneuvering. Diddy's defense team has filed motions challenging the original verdict, insisting that the case against him was flawed. They argue that key evidence was mishandled, that procedural errors occurred, and that their client has been unfairly judged in the court of public opinion. At the heart of their argument is the claim that Diddy's celebrity status has made him a target, magnifying every allegation and overshadowing the principle of due process. Prosecutors, however, remain firm. They insist that the earlier verdict was reached properly, based on strong evidence and fair procedure. According to them, the defense's attempt to have the ruling overturned is nothing more than a strategy to buy time and avoid accountability. They argue that fame should not shield anyone from justice, and that the system must treat even the most powerful the same as everyone else. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere has been tense. Lawyers from both sides have presented lengthy arguments, each emphasizing the far-reaching consequences of the decision. For Diddy's supporters, overturning the verdict would be seen as vindication, a chance for him to move forward without the shadow of legal defeat. For his critics, however, such an outcome would represent another example of celebrity privilege bending the rules of justice.
They don't follow anything about the case. I mean, at the end of the day, they should not know who you are, Elizabeth. The person who's the face of law and crimes coverage of this, they should not know who you are. They should not know who I am. And if they do, it's a problem. Okay, so we move past the juror issue. Now we go into summary witnesses. Summary witness is very interesting in a case like this. Basically, when you have a voluminous amount of material, particularly digital evidence, you need sometimes a witness to kind of condense it, to kind of do an overview, to summarize what it's about. You know, you have charts that are presented by the government. So obviously in a racketeering case like this, and particularly when you have so many different players and all these underlying allegations, I'm not surprised. I want to talk about the first witness, this first summary witness. It was a paralegal, and her name is, and correct me if I mispronounce it, Anya Sanker. What was her role?
Yeah, so Anyanya Sanker, I hope I'm pronouncing it right too, Jesse. So her role essentially was just reviewing two of the charts that were in this case, and those being the summary charts. And so she said that the government prepared the charts, but then Sankar's role was just reviewing these charts for accuracy. And so she reviewed...
One thing is clear. This decision will not simply affect Sean Combs. It will ripple through the entertainment industry, shape public opinion, and once again raise difficult questions about how justice operates when fame and fortune are involved. Until then, the world waits, watching closely as the next chapter in Diddy's turbulent story unfolds. Stay tuned for continuing coverage. Outside the courtroom, the public reaction has been just as intense. On social media, the story has dominated headlines. Some users argue passionately in Diddy's defense, pointing to his decades-long contributions to music, culture, and business. They see him as a target of a system eager to bring down a powerful figure. Others, however, believe that this case represents a long-overdue reckoning. For them, the possibility of overturning the verdict raises serious concerns about fairness and accountability, especially when it comes to wealthy and influential celebrities. Diddy himself has remained mostly silent in public, leaving the talking to his legal team. This silence has only fueled speculation about what the outcome might mean for his career. If the judge decides to overturn the verdict, Diddy could claim a major legal victory and attempt to rebuild his public image. It would be seen as a chance to reset, though whether the public would embrace him again is another question entirely. If the judge upholds the original verdict, however, the fallout could be devastating, reinforcing the narrative that Diddy's once untouchable empire is in rapid decline. The stakes extend beyond Diddy as an individual. This hearing has become a symbol of the broader conversation about fame, justice, and power in America. Time and again, we have seen high-profile cases where celebrity influence appears to collide with the rule of law. Some believe the system bends for the famous, while others argue that celebrity status often makes figures easier targets for harsh judgment. The outcome of Diddy's hearing will inevitably add fuel to that debate. For now, all eyes remain on the judge, who is expected to rule soon. Will the original verdict stand, reinforcing the notion that even powerful moguls must face consequences? Or will it be overturned, offering Diddy a lifeline and sparking new debates about privilege and accountability?